I have be talking today about scattered, and so as I began to think and plan for an object lesson for the kids, Addison has recently become capable of sending us messages over our telephone. I don't know exactly what that means for the change in her technology, but being able to see her do some cartwheels and backflips over the video this past week, and I guess I have anticipated the time when both of those girls would have phones or other contrivances for doing such things, and it's amazing that I was talking during the Sunday school lesson that sometimes our parents, didn't really know or care, didn't know where we were during any given day till the sun came down, or it was time to eat, or I guess we almost always showed up when it was time for a meal. But I remember when my kids were teenagers, I was glad to always, they always had their telephones with them, and sometimes they were in an accident or they needed help, or we just could reach out and tell them to pick something up on your way back home, or what time, or they would let us know I'm going to be late, or so it's a modern contrivance that we didn't have when I was a child, and we were able to kind of keep tabs on our kids, and gratefully, I guess, I'm looking forward to the time when I know that our granddaughters are going to get caught up in social media with their friends, and it may be seldom that Mimi and Pops get a message from them. So we're at the beginning, though, we may be their primary source of communication. My daughter contacted me and said, what do you want for Christmas? And I said, I need some decks of cards. And so she got, I just kind of wanted to, I thought maybe if she'll give me 2 blue backs and 2 red backs, so that'd be great. She got me a whole box. I don't know, I guess probably about 20 decks of cards in there, so that ought to be good for a while. But this is one of the new decks that she's got me for Christmas, and I know that I can use them in lamb service, or use them just to amuse myself, or keep my fingers from aching or hurting, and kind of keep my touch a little bit sensitive and nimble. But I began to think about the message about scattered. There are 52 cards in a deck, and I've begun to learn as I continue to do magic and card magic in particular over the years, that many people don't realize that there are no duplicates in a deck. Of course, I guess there are jokers, and even the jokers in this deck do not look identical. So there's 2 jokers, but they're not similar. They are both obviously recognizable as jokers. But I almost always leave those in the deck. So I know that there are a couple of jokers in here, and 52 other cards. But some people might imagine that here's a queen of diamonds, that there might be several queens of diamonds in there. But there's not. There's only one. There's the ace of diamonds. The ace of diamonds. And there's only one of those. Now, there are 4 aces. As a matter of fact, there's the ace of diamonds. And let me kind of thumb through. And there are 4 aces, but they're different suits. That's the ace of diamonds. There is the ace of hearts. 4 different suits in a deck, 4 different suits. But there's the ace of clubs. I know that there's one more, and that is the ace of spades. So as I kind of thumb through here, there's the ace of spades right there. And so there are 4 aces, there are 4 twos, there are 4 fours, there are 4 kings. But they are different in that there is only one ace of spades. And so we might scatter them out through the deck, and the most common kind of magic trick with the deck of cards is pick a card, or name a card, or tell me when to stop, to select, because ideally these cards are mixed. As you saw, I just had to search for the aces. There's the other joker. There's an 8 and a 6. 7, there's another 6 of hearts, not another, but a 6 of clubs, 7 of diamonds, 2, a 10 of spades, a 9 of spades, There's a Queen of Spades, a little bit farther down. See, they're very well mixed. I don't do a lot of shuffling when I do magic. I just, usually from just normal use, cards get scattered. They get mixed. They become shuffled. One of the most common or popular sleight of hand tricks that I've seen over the years, and that I probably was one of the first card tricks that I ever learned, is called the ambitious card. The ambitious card is where you take a card, or you find a card, or a card is selected, and then through a series of sleights or a series of revelations, that same card is controlled by the magician or by the cardster, and it keeps popping up in the routine. You might just kind of do a drop like this, and just by selecting a card there's the 6 of clubs. Now, as I said, there's only one 6 of clubs in the whole deck, but when I put the cards back together and just do a riffle like that, my intention was for you not to notice that I put the 6 of clubs on the bottom of the deck. And there are hundreds of different manual manipulations or finger sleights. And so let's focus in on the 6 of clubs. There are many different ways in which you might scatter it back into the deck. You might take the 6 of clubs and perhaps cause a break in the cards just about anywhere, and put it in the center of the deck, just like that, in just a nondescript or an unplanned or not previously selected way, and simply riffle the cards or make a few shuffles, and then right here on the very top turn over the 6 of clubs back on the very top again. That's the ambitious card. It sounds like its ambition is to be in the limelight or in the spotlight, and so it keeps returning back over and over again. Watch that very same move just again. I'm going to take the 6, and you can see that it goes just about in the center of the deck, just there like that, and I can push it in. It doesn't have to be quickly done, or it doesn't have to be done with faster than the eye can see, but as you can see, I've just moved it to the bottom of the deck. We might shuffle the deck, and just simply by going through the motions of shuffling, bring the 6 of clubs to the top of the deck. Now, with the 6 of clubs on the top of the deck, just exactly like that, I can grab some cards from the middle and then just pile them on top, just like that. Then you might say, well, one thing to do is to be able to control the card during a deal. And I might say, well, I don't want it to be the first card, and so there's an ace of diamonds. I might have those 4 aces. There's a 4, and deal another card, and there's a jack. And I might say, well, there's a 3, and there's the jack. So, well, I want the card of note to be the 6th card. And so we might say, okay, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th card is the 6 of clubs. Again, one thing I might do, and this is another one that I enjoy, this almost seems like real magic right here, just to put that card in there just like that, so that it goes in just about in the center of the deck, halfway down. And then what I want to do is, watch this. I'm just going to take this card, just like that, and I'm just going to push it in, just push very slowly, and it goes in there just like that. And then just as soon as I do, to turn over the top card, and it is the 6 of clubs. And you can just, so many different things. Now let me show you something. Let's depart from the 6 of clubs for just a moment. And I do want to pull those aces back out again. And what I'm really talking about today in the message is that in the 16th chapter of 1 Corinthians, Paul mentions and talks about the scattered nature of the church. Now, he doesn't use the word scattered, but he's referring to his workers and co-workers and the members there at Corinth, and how they are just plastered all over the place. There's another ace, and there's the ace of diamonds. So I've pulled out all 4 of the aces, the only 4 aces that are in the deck. And right now, during this pandemic, during this virus and this infection and this unusual circumstances that we're in, we might say that we might imagine or think, and some might assume, that the church is ineffective, or if we can't gather, if we can't congregate, then maybe we're being short-circuited, or we're being dealt out, or we're being quieted, or we're off mission, we're off target. You know, when Jesus created the church, he commissioned the church, and he says, "Go." We're more the church. We are more the church of Jesus Christ when we are going than when we are gathering. I think in modern times, we think that when we're congregated, when we're together having a worship service, that we are more the church then than at any other time. I love fellowship. I love to be together. I love to congregate. I know that's a part of the purpose of the church. And Paul even mentions throughout the letter, I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm going to send Timothy, and then I'm going to come and spend some time with you. Even in the 16th chapter, he says, when I come, I'm not just going to stay a little while. I want to stay a long time with you. We all long for that. And yet we see that he's taking up and receiving an offering for the poor saints at Jerusalem. And the reason the saints in the church at Jerusalem had fallen on such hard times is because they'd refused to scatter. They'd refused to be a going church. They were a get-together kind of church, and that's all they were. Well, let me do one more thing here. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to do this in two different fashions. I'm going to take the ace of diamonds. I'm going to put it a little ways down into the deck just like that. I'm going to scatter them out. I'm going to put them in different places. And these are the only four aces that are in this deck. But you can see as they're kind of scattered throughout the deck like that, when we get scattered, it doesn't mean that we're in a situation where we might become ineffective or where we can't do our job. That is not the case at all. Let me show you these. I'm just going to kind of shuffle through the cards, control the cards, and bring them back together. And right here on the top, there's the ace of diamonds, the ace of spades, the ace of hearts, the ace of clubs, right back on the top of the deck again. Now I'm going to do one more thing, and then I'm going to ask Danny to sing for us. Watch this very carefully. I'm going to take these four aces, and I'm going to place them right here on top of the deck. Then I'm going to do the same kind of thing. I'm just going to take the aces, and and then just one at a time, I'm going to push that one in, push that one in, and push that one in. And as they all go together, and it looks like they're just completely scattered, God knows where we are. He's in complete control. And He is using us. And the reason He's scattering us is because we're like seed. Scattering us like seed. And when you scatter seed, you have a harvest. You have a crop. And that's what God is doing. If you're in a scattered situation right now and you're away from your family, and you're away from your friends. Maybe you can't even go to work. Something has thrown you out into a place where you feel like you're uncomfortable or you don't belong. Let me assure you, if your life is surrendered to Christ, and if you're fully given to Him, and you're submitted to Him, wherever He scatters you to, that's what He wants you to do. He wants you to bloom there. He wants you to blossom where you're planted. Listen, if we're going to be God's garden and if we're going to populate the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ, they're not going to come to church to get it. They're not going to gather with us. They're not going to congregate with us to find out about Jesus. And so I believe that more people are hearing about and learning about and coming to an understanding of the gospel of Jesus Christ during this time of pandemic and chaos, and it seems to be that everything has gone haywire and everything's coming unraveled. Let me assure you, God has a plan. He's in complete control. He's the one who's dealing, and He knows where every card is at. And everything is working according to God's plan. We may not like it. It may not be pleasant. But let's assume that we can trust God to know what He's doing.